The development of a business. An aspiring entrepreneur will go through several stages during their journey towards the creation of a startup. The dream. First of all, the entrepreneur imagines having their own company and producing something that they are passionate about. The dream is initially a confused idea of what they would like to become. Dreaming is an important aspect of creative thinking. The challenge is how to turn a dream into reality and vision. The vision. A vision is an idea or mental picture of what something will be like in the future. In writing a vision statement, an entrepreneur will state what they would like the business to become. The more the vision is focused and articulated, the better the aspiring entrepreneur will be activated and motivated to see it realized. The vision should be simple and clear to anyone who sees it, and usually no longer than 3 to 4 lines. The mission. Next, the entrepreneur has to focus on creating a mission statement. To put it simply, whether it's a startup or a company, it's the mission statement that drives your organization. It is the reason why you exist as a company, why you do what you do. It is from the mission that objectives and what is needed to achieve them derive. It also shapes your company culture. The management. When the mission is turned into a plan, the entrepreneur must identify and procure the various resources needed in order for the mission to be accomplished. This is a very crucial period in the development of any startup because it represents the activation of the plan that will determine whether the entrepreneur is going to be successful in his mission to build a company, make it grow and prosper. Business development. Once the company starts to mature and stabilize, the entrepreneur cannot sit still on their accomplishments, but needs to develop the company according to changes in the market and competition pressure. Therefore, an entrepreneur needs to be creative in adjusting the company according to the ever-changing needs of the market. Taking an idea to market. The challenge for any entrepreneur is that of generating an idea which could become a product, a service, or a system that certain people, organizations, and companies might need and be willing to pay for. Creativity as a soft skill to be developed for the purpose of entrepreneurship. Creativity in ideas. Creativity in ideas consists in generating different and alternative solutions to complex problems, a relevant issue in a world where complexity is increasingly common. Methodology and tools are meaningful and effective only when aimed at a specific context, in this case, entrepreneurship and the creation of value for entrepreneurs. Creativity, in this case, concerns the ideas that can be trained and developed thanks to different approaches, methodologies, and techniques usually incorporated in the famous Creative Problem-Solving Methodology, acronym CPS 1979, NOLA. Creative problem-solving. Creative problem-solving is much more than these 3 words put together, and could be defined as follows. It is a methodology based on a multidisciplinary approach dealing with the role of creativity, innovation, and problem-solving in various daily life situations. In 1979, NOLA provided a definition of creative problem-solving, starting from the 3 words it is composed of. Creative. It means having an element of novelty that is relevant to anyone who wants to devise a solution. It implies bringing about something that wasn't there before, which has elements of novelty. It is important not to confuse creativity with art. In this specific context, creativity is about new ideas. Problem. NOLA defined a problem as any situation that presents a challenge, offers an opportunity, or represents a concern to the solver. Solving. Solving is directly connected to problems. It's about devising different ways to respond, address, or face a situation by changing oneself or the circumstances. Thinking more effectively. divergent and convergent thinking. Joy Paul Guilford is the American psychologist who defined two modes of thinking in the 20th century that constitute the opposites of a continuum where individual styles are found. Convergent thinking follows a linear and consequential logical path and is excellent for all those procedural reasonings through which we implement known and consolidated solution strategies to address critical issues that we are already familiar with. Divergent thinking, on the other hand, comes into play when we find ourselves faced with a new problem to solve, with which usual procedures don't work. We need to invent a new solution which considers the problem from different points of view. This is when divergent thinking comes to our rescue, summoning our mind's creative abilities by helping us to consider new points of view. Brainstorming. Brainstorming is an approach invented by Alex Osborne. By collecting a list of ideas spontaneously generated by a group of people, settlement for a specific problem is reached. People can think freely and generate spontaneous insights in a context where ideas are not criticized or evaluated. 4 basic rules for a brainstorming session are: criticism is not permitted. Ideas are not judged verbally. Freewheeling is welcome, and wild and strange ideas are expected to emerge. Participants must not be afraid to voice their thoughts. Quantity is a requirement. More and more ideas should be generated. Combinations and improvements are good. Other people's ideas may be improved, changed, and revised in order to generate a new idea. Brainstorming is, if you like, the first example of applying a convergent and divergent thinking to the development of creativity. Let's see why. A possible brainstorming process. Defining and agreeing on a clear goal. Sharing as many ideas as possible. Setting a time limit. Categorizing and combining ideas. Evaluating and analyzing effects and results. Creating a list of priorities and ranking them if necessary. Agreeing on a proposed action and timetable. Checking and monitoring follow-ups. Lateral thinking and the 6 hats technique. The term lateral thinking was coined in 1967 by Edward de Bono, a Maltese physician, psychologist, author, inventor, and mental health professional. Lateral thinking is not just a technique, but a number of different ways of opening oneself to creative thinking and problem solving, because many problems require adopting a different perspective in order to be solved successfully. Indeed, thinking can only seem like reasoning, in the sense of exercising reason. But thought can also be exercised in a creative way, overcoming the classical deductive logic in order to see the big picture or allow instinct and emotions to suggest a path for us. With this in mind, de Bono invented the theory of the 6 hats, which foresees that a group addresses a topic or problem while wearing 6 hats of different colors, one at a time. The 6 colors of the hats correspond to an equal number of points of view. White is rationality, and blue is control. Yellow is optimism, and green is creativity. Red is emotions, and black is pessimism. Thinking outside the box. Thinking outside the box means to think beyond the usual ways of thinking. The term box represents the constraints of our traditional or standard way of thinking. So, in reality, to think outside the box is about thinking in novel ways, being provocative when developing a concept, or seeing a problem and designing a solution in a different way from what we usually do. The main reason we think inside the box is because the brain forms patterns, and every time we are faced with an issue, the brain taps into those patterns to come up with a solution.